Hey guys, welcome to Automate with Rakesh. In this video, you are going to learn how can you start a job using the HTTP request in UiPath, using the API endpoint. How this is done entirely, how do you design that endpoint, how do you design the JSON payload, everything I'm going to talk in this video in detail. So let's get started and see how this is being done. Alright, to start a job, the very first step we will drag and drop the orchestrator HTTP request activity. Okay, so please drag and drop the orchestrator HTTP request activity. Now the next important thing is to get that endpoint and to design the payload. That is the important thing. Now for that, simply type UiPath API docs. Okay, UiPath API docs, and let me open this. Okay, now inside this documentation, slowly on the left hand side, scroll down and look for jobs request. Okay, click on jobs request. Okay, so I am on the jobs request page. Now on this right hand side panel, scroll down. So initially you will have all this get request. Okay, so scroll down to post request. You will find something called post. So scroll down, down, still get request. Yeah, so here you have something called starting a job. Okay, starting a job. Now in this one, starting job, scroll down and this is the endpoint. So when I'm using orchestrator HTTP request, you don't need the orchestrator URL, you need from OData. Simply copy this. Go to your UiPath Studio, select the folder where you would like to start your job, and select the method as post. Very important, select your method as post, and in the relative endpoint within double quote simply paste it. Let me enlarge it and show you. Okay, this is your endpoint. Clear? The endpoint is clear. Let me close this and save it. Done. Now the very important is how do you design the payload and where do you get that payload? The payload is also available just below this. Scroll down and this is the payload. Just copy this payload to a blank notepad. So let me have it here. Okay, so I'm going to copy this to a notepad. Now here in this one, the very first step is you always remove this double quotes. Wherever you see these double quotes, quickly remove them. Done. Okay. All right. Robot ID, all the double quotes. Wherever you see these double quotes, but ensure you are not deleting any letters. Okay, otherwise it won't work. Be careful while doing this. Done. After that, the next thing is you have to use single quotes wherever the values are there. Now the very important point that we need is the release key. Okay, this release key has to be kept within single quote. Now how do you find the release key? In my previous video I have shown you. If you don't know how do you find a release key, you must watch my previous video where I have shown you how do you really get this release key. You will get this kind of a JSON output and this is the key. So here I've got my release key. I'm going to simply copy this release key to the notepad, and here within single quote, remember all of this, within single quote you need to paste it. So your release keys, you have got your release key, and so there is no extra space. Okay, everything is proper now. Now here there is something called strategy all. What is this strategy all? Again, there is a documentation here. The all strategy is not applicable to modern folders. It is saying when if you are going with all, then you will get an error. I am going to show you that. Okay, I'm not going to delete it. I am going to use it as it is. All you have to do is simply put a quote, single quote. The robot ID has to be there in square brackets. A number of robots you will say 0. Okay, leave as it is, and then I'm going to make everything into a single line. Okay, just hit on delete and bring them into all into single line. Okay, now you have got the entire thing. So copy this extra space and remove. Even though you have extra space, doesn't matter, nothing will happen, but it's better to just keep it proper. Okay, somewhere I have extra spaces, white spaces, it won't be a problem. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, so until the end I have copied this. Let's go here in the JSON payload. I'm going to double quote and paste this. Now let's see the entire thing. Okay, what I have done, look at it. Start info, release key, your own release key, okay, that you have to put in a proper way. There should not be any mistake. Strategy, I'm keeping it as all. This will give error, but I'm keeping just to show you that error. Robot ID has to be in square bracket. A number of robots 0. Everything you keep it as it is. Okay, now once this is done, simply save it and run this. Now because we have kept strategy all, that was actually used for classic folders. Now currently if you go to Orchestrator, your folders are modern folders. So I'll show you that error, then we will proceed. Okay, okay, so the execution has started. Let's see, and you can see it has actually said everything, you know, all fine. But if I go to my Orchestrator and go to the jobs and refresh it, I don't see any pending jobs. Okay, this was run 58 minutes back. I did not see it. That means there is some kind of a problem. And how do you really see that problem is, here you simply there is something called status code here, right? The status code. Here I am going to create a variable and use it. I have already a variable status code, or simply create a variable if you. So this is the variable I'm using. Now let's write this variable so we understand what happened. Is it really processed or not? So let me use a write line activity. Step by step, you know, very slowly, step by step you should go to get that one-time understanding, which is very important. Status code dot toString. Okay, I got it. Now let us run it again. I want to show you that exact problem that is happening. If I run it, it will show you the execution is happening, but again there is a problem with the JSON payload when you write all. Okay, now the execution will start. Okay, now you can see the execution has started. Let's look at it. It has given a 400 means there's some problem. Okay, so if you click on this, so there is a error. Okay, trace user, you know, there is certainly there is some kind of a error that is happening. Okay, there is an error that is happening, and that's why you have got a 400. That means that doesn't work. Now the question comes here. Okay, now what is the way then? If this is not working, then what should I write here? So all you have to do, you have to write something called modern job count. Okay, very important point. Instead of all, you write modern job count. This is the value you have to enter, modern job count. Okay, make a note, modern job count. Now let me pass it. Let me do the change directly here in the payload. So I'll remove this all and simply paste modern job count. Done. Now let me save this and run it. Okay, now look at what's going to happen. Here you can see 1 hour back. Okay, now few minutes have gone. So 1 hour back there is a process which was running. Now I have started this. You will see the new line will get added under the job section. Okay, so the execution has started. Very good. Now what happened? 201. Do you see 201? Now if you go here and refresh this job section, you can see, do you see there is something called pending here? There is something called pending. Let me quickly also open my UiPath Assistant. Job started processing. Okay, you can see it here. Job started processing. So this is going to show me a message. Finally, when the job is complete, it will show me a message stating good morning Rakesh. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, so you can see the message box has appeared. Good morning, Rakesh. Very good. So the process has actually ran, and you can see it's pending. Let me refresh it. Now this is successful 35 seconds ago. Getting it? So 38 seconds ago. So you understood how this one is working with the following set of endpoint. Okay, so this is the endpoint. Using this endpoint, how it works. Getting it? So now the question also comes in our mind. How about passing a robot ID so that it only runs in a given robot? How about passing a robot ID? So for that you must know how to fetch a robot ID. If not, I have already created a video on which I have shown how do you get the robot ID. So here I have already got the robot ID. So let me show you how do you modify the endpoint. Okay. So here in the endpoint, I'm going to simply within the square bracket I'm going to place it. No quotes, nothing. Just within the square bracket, whatever your robot ID is, just simply paste it. Now I'm going to save this and let me run it. So here once the process starts, here we should see another pending job. Okay, another pending job should appear on top of this place. Okay, so let's see what's happening on the studio. Okay, so the execution has just started. Okay, status 201. Now let's refresh it here in the job section. So you can see there's a pending one has come. Okay, the pending one has come. Let's go to the assistant. Let's see what's happening. Still says pending. Okay, now it says running. Let's see. Okay. With the help of the API key and targeting a specific robot ID. Okay, so here I have targeted the specific robot ID and this is the final endpoint, how it looks. Okay, so I hope this would be helpful. Try this out and definitely let me know in the comment section whether this had helped you or not. Okay, and what was the problem, so that we will try to figure out how do you still modify the endpoint in case you have any problems. So please do comment. If it worked, at least comment, yeah, it worked for me. Okay, so that it will be very nice for me to see that people are utilizing these contents and it is helping other people. Okay, so please do comment and do not forget to subscribe to the channel and share the videos wherever possible. Thank you guys. So let's meet once again in our next content and learn a lot of new things. Thank you.